Hello to all of our listeners and viewers. Today we are having a special guest on our show on the MTÜK podcast. We have Michael Burich, the owner, founder, creative director. Call him what you want. He's the owner of Maison Beast, the one of the most one of the biggest names in the Estonian clothing brand industry, and also going global now. So it's gonna be an interesting talk. And so I don't know, let's just break the ice. Like, who are you? What do you do? And how are you feeling today?
Thank you for the intro. Feel special already. I think you said it all. Michael Burich. I'm the founder and creative director of Maison Beast. I've worn a lot of hats in my life. Did a lot of industries, from creative things, music things, finance things. But then in the end of the day, at some point you have a sit down with yourself and you're like, if I were to do something for the rest of my life, what would it be? And I think I came to a point a couple years back where I looked at my pain points and frustration points of like what I wasn't happy with.
Okay.
And then what things I would do any time of day, without it feeling like work.
Oh, yeah.
With just me waking up every morning and saying I want to do that. And it all kind of came together into the idea that ended up being Maison Beast. I think when we originally started Maison Beast, I mean, that on paper, at least, we always wanted it to be more than just a fashion brand.
Yeah. We
didn't know exactly how to get there. To be honest with you, we didn't even know how to get there with a fashion brand at first. But we called it Maison, which is in French means house, to kind of indicate already that we wanted to be like a creative house that does more than just one thing.
Okay, yeah.
And to be honest with you, the last 2 years since Maison Beast came out has been crazy. We've been super blessed with how well it was received, how certain things happened within such a short period of time, with who started wearing the brand, who started supporting the brand, how we evolved, and if I'm here sitting telling you that I know exactly how it's going to end up, it will be a lie. I don't.
Yeah.
But we're definitely riding the wave, and we're working super hard to make this another direction for Estonia, where we have technology companies and so on. We want fashion to be another one of those areas where we can be super proud to say that this is an Estonian brand.
Yeah, that's really, really interesting. Yeah, and it's a great way to put it. Yeah, like, what do you want to do? Like, that wouldn't feel like work for the rest of life. That's literally like the dream. Like, if it's possible, then like you gotta always like pursue it. Like, to see if there is something that you just love so much that you just like doesn't really feel like work. Well, obviously, when you do something that you love, there will still be days that you don't feel like doing it, and it wouldn't be. It's not like a magical spell that, like, if you choose something that you like, you love to do. And then it's going to be like a magical like button that, for the rest of your life, everything's going to be all sunshine,
Well, 100%. Well, no, look, there's nothing that we love 100% of our days, right? Yeah. There's always a love and hate relationship with anything. I think it's more than just love. I feel it's like having a certain vision or a goal. And in my specific case, I have an obsession with like building this into this global brand. And it's the obsession that gives me a certain regime, if you will, a certain thing that's beyond my feeling at that any day that I wake up. It's not like, I feel like doing this or I don't feel like doing this. I feel like the vision is bigger than that. Like, we're now committed, and it's not just me now. I have a team that's committed as well. And you don't leave yourself space to say like, I don't feel like doing this today. And you know what I mean? I feel like we're on a go, and we started something, and now it's gotten to a place where we can't let our feelings or emotions kind of not
dictate
of where we're going to take it. So, I definitely love doing it, but I almost feel like that obsession that I'm talking to you about, as I told you, I think one of the main things from building a business from scratch, if you have certain pain points, or if you have things that frustrate you, and then you build a business with a purpose to like, tell a story or to highlight that, then I think that's typically bigger than like just emotions. So I had those frustration points, and I'm like, now that we're building things to express them, I feel like it's easy to go to work.
Yeah, I guess you have a really bolstered like mindset, really like tough, you know, good mentality coming into everything business. It requires well, you know, prepared brain, like to comprehend all of this and to, as you said, you know, get through the feelings, you know, and just like do it regardless. So let's track back a little bit, you know, just for the viewers, maybe they don't know the exact story of Maison Beast, story of maybe you, where'd you like what defines you as an owner, like how did you get this mindset, where did this idea come of like making a clothing brand in this well saturated clothing brand business world, you know? And just
100%. I got you. You know, I trace it back to like multiple events or things in my life that kind of shaped the reason that maybe I started something like Maison Beast. Mm-hmm. And then I can trace it back all the way, like back to, you know, the beginning. I have two parents that are very different. Parents that you know, that I grew up with, that supported me every single step of the way in whatever I do. That kind of gave me that bravado, that like wish or that feeling that I can try anything because I have that family support. But I had a mother that is super creative and has always been into like the arts and the drawings and the clothes making. Like she would, we didn't have a lot of money growing up back then. She would make clothes for me. So I saw like custom made clothes for me out of whatever leftovers we had. But I always had something really cool that nobody else had. And then amazing. On my dad's side, it was much more like, you know, the business, the principles, the financial kind of approach. And so I think most people grow up with being very strong in one or the other. And I had such a strong mix of my mom and dad in my life that gave me both of those things to be able to be the creative side of Maison Beast and then the business side of it. And so I think that was a big win. Mm-hmm. The other thing is I haven't gotten out of school expecting to run the show. Like I've worked in every imaginable job you can imagine before starting Maison Beast. My path before that was the hospitality industry. Oh, okay. I started working in a hotel when I was like 11 years old. Wow. I worked as a bellboy. I worked as a cleaner, as a housekeeper, as a person that sets up the conferences. I worked in every single department in the hotel by the time I was 18. And then when I was 18, I went to study hospitality in Switzerland. I think hospitality is such a big part of Maison Beast today. Like looking at what we're trying to create with the brand, we're not trying to create good products or good clothes. We're trying to create an environment around every collection. We're trying to create an experience around every collection. We can touch on it in more detail later, but that definitely comes from that hospitality background. So I went to study hospitality. I came back. I worked in a company. I ran a couple hotels and some restaurants here, which worked, pretty good. I had at some point had over 120 people on payroll working in the company. Things didn't, work out perfect for me. I sold part of the company, and then another part of the company was taken. So I ended up going from having all of that to having none of it at all. Then I had to try and see if I could, get any inspiration or any good things in the technology sector. So went and worked a little bit in startups there. Then I went to work in the finance sector, hedge fund. Things were doing super well until COVID hit. Things went south again, had to start all over again. And I think if there's anything that you trace back, which I think is super important, which kind of pisses me off that isn't really taught in school that well, is that idea that failing is a huge part of success.
Yeah, it's really punished, isn't it?
It's like if you go to school, you're expected to know the right answer, or if you fail, then it's a bad thing.
Yeah.
And then you get to real life, and it's like if you don't fail, there's no chance you can succeed in what you do. And so I think what gave Maison Beast a head start, or what you said, that, having that trained mind, I think that I had so many things that failed in life that I learned to handle that situation so calm and well, that going into Maison Beast, we had had jobs and everything. We just quit everything and went into it without the fear of what if it fails, because we knew that well, we failed before, so if this fails, we'll just realign our thoughts and try again later. So there was no fear in that, and that comes from a lot of those things that went well and then not so well, and that is the kind of thing that I keep why I keep talking to young people that starting businesses as well. Normalizing failure is such a huge thing in my journey.
Totally,
that I hope it's talked about more.
Yeah, and it for us too, I believe it's something that we just it's just weird that other people maybe not actually notice, but the approach of the mind to failure is as you said during school years and everywhere actually, when you take a test or whatever, when you get a bad result, you get punished by a bad grade or whatever, and it doesn't reinforce the importance of failure. When you fail, then you learn.
See, that's what I'm always wondering. How are you encouraging innovation or experimentation? You can't have that without failure. Exactly. So basically, the big issue that I have, and I'm not I love the education system and everything, but one of the reasons why I think Maison Beast had such a fast start in Estonia. Mm-hmm. is because we were in a very different mindset from everybody doing business here. Because the way that business is typically done is to minimize failure, to minimize risk.
Yeah.
It's very cost-based. It's very, how do we take care of minimizing our cost, versus me coming from the hospitality industry saying, how do we deliver magic and then make the cost work?
Yeah.
And I think that's really the basis of how we started the brand and how we're continuing to build a brand.
Oh yeah, that's actually that's a really great approach on this, and I think this really this was the groundwork laid out for the great and fast success of Maison Beast. But Maison Beast was really has had a great start in Estonia and also going global to Milano and New York Fashion Week, whatever. But when starting out, you mentioned failures. You did have some. Did you have some challenges when you started? Because coming into this, obviously with a trained mind or whatever, what were the main, I don't know, one or two challenges that you can recall that you knew that, oh, I'm glad I made this mistake now, not later. Does anything come up?
Look, there's a lot of challenges. I mean, we had literally we're sitting in a cafe with my best friend who's my business partner too, and we're I have this IP that I acquired some IP that was kind of cool, and I'm we can build a brand out of this. We didn't have a name or anything. It wasn't Maison Beast back then. It was just a cool thought, and then we're yeah, sure. We both come from a strong background of love for music, urban culture, hip hop music, fashion as well was a big thing for us. But we weren't professionally trained designers or anything. We just, followed everything that's happening, especially in the US and the UK and so on, in terms of the fashion and the music. Mm-hmm. And we understood culture. We understood culture because we consumed so much culture. Yeah. And so we understood it. And we didn't have professional designers. We didn't have money. We didn't have a collection ready. And so we just, that was number one. How do we go about doing that? But we had an understanding of a story we want to tell. We had an understanding of visual identity for what the brand could be like, having the IP that we had. We got super lucky with finding a third person part of the team who was a trained designer so that we can actually do all the technical drawings. And one of the things that I said from scratch is we're not going to buy blanks and print on them. That's not a way you build a brand. I mean, we're not at the point where we're going to drop everything in life to start a brand that's going to take ready-made T-shirts and print designs on them. That's not what we're trying to do.
General approach when anybody mentions, oh, you do a clothing brand,
Well, I mean, when you said a saturated market, it's saturated because the barrier of entry is so low, and anybody can buy blanks and print on them. And I'm not knocking that. That's okay. That's a fine way. I think, again, if you want to minimize risk, that's probably the way to go. The only difference for me is the kind of vision that I have for the brand is not about minimizing risk. It's about being a brand that's talked about in the same breath as the represents and the bigger brands that are out there. And you can't do that by just printing on blanks. So from day one, we understood we needed to create our own designs, our own cuts, our own fabrics, everything. So that was a challenge. We were blessed by Estonia being so small. You ask around a few people and ended up being connected to Christina, who's still a very big part of the brand and the head technical designer of the brand. Then we had no money for the collection. I had to hustle ways to find somebody that would lend us money for the initial collection, which we ended up finding. Did the collection, didn't have any big contacts in production manufacturing houses, just started experimenting. We started with an Asian factory that was quite good, to be honest with you. For like a first try, it was quite good. But then once I started really digging into things, and then later we found the factory that manufactures for Balenciaga and these guys, and I flew out there and made a deal. So today we manufacture in Portugal.
Wow.
But there was no designer, there's no money, there's no collection. I mean, do you need any more challenges than that when you start a clothing brand? But it was just like this huge belief that we have something strong enough that we can do it. And we never let that at any point slow us down from creating whatever we were creating for the brand every day. Like, we knew we will find a designer. We knew we will create a collection. We knew we will one day find the money, but we kept thinking, okay, but what is the brand going to look like? What's the story that we're going to tell? Where we're going to manufacture? And more importantly, I think a lot of brands are like concerned about where we're going to do the stuff and are not so concerned about who we're going to sell the stuff to. For me, it was always like, first, where we're going to sell it to, and then handle the second part. So the sales part is first. But we had I had a few connections. We had a small following on Twitter already that were also people that knew the IP that we had purchased. I knew a few people in Asia. I knew a few people in the US that we could send things to, and so I basically rounded up all the contacts that I built throughout my life. And then put it into work on that first collection.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, really couldn't imagine a more challenging start. Yeah, it's actually impressive actually. But through challenge, that challenge forces you to like actually take up immense action and like
100%. Well, and the thing is, when you build a brand the way I just told you about, when you do custom cuts and everything, there's a minimum quantity that you need to order. You can't do a custom cut on a t-shirt and get 10 t-shirts. You need to order hundreds of those. And obviously, when nobody knows the brand, you kind of create what you feel will sell without any market feedback. And so we're kind of just going on, well, we like that, and we like that, and the sizing is like that. And it was, we borrowed money to create the collection, and some items were too, like, we went with this green color that became this big Maison Beast color thing. But for like somebody in Estonia, a lot of those items were too bright and too, like, people don't like to wear something that screams when you walk on the street. So at first we had a problem that we had that money borrowed. We had the stock here, but it was just sitting on a shelf. The black things would sell fast, and all the things that are a little different and a little brighter wouldn't. We figured it out later and we got our market. But in the beginning, it was kind of like, what do we do with all the stuff that we just ordered?
With the first drop and everything. Well, these when anybody like mentions Maison Beast to me, I always get reminded of this like bright, neon green colors and everything. But I do recall scrolling on Instagram and seeing like a video about this kind of you buried. It was a burial video, and was it like? Did you like? Can you explain this video?
Yeah, of course. So I mean, coming back to what we want to do with the brand. We create collections that are not permanent. So we want every collection to be an experience. And like, a lot of people feel like if they do good quality clothes, it's enough. The way I look at it is that the customer that purchases a t-shirt from you, whether it's for $30 or $50 or $100 in our case, the expectation is that they buy quality. Like, it's not surprising that it's supposed to be good. You know what I mean? People are like, oh, you buy this, it's good quality. I'm like, oh, well, yeah, I'm expecting it to be good quality. You don't buy a car and you're like, oh, wow, it drives. It's
of course.
It's the expectation. So what we decided is we want the best quality stuff. All of that 100% is important for us, and that's what we did. But that's not what we communicate. I mean, we talk about it, but people buy it and they feel it instantly. What we want to communicate is, how do we build a world around every collection that is experiential, that has a beginning, a middle, and end. And so we did that first collection, and then we already had a second collection coming, and our second collection was called Mob Ties, and it was very like this 90s gangster kind of collection. And so one day we're just sitting around and we're like, how do we tell the story of ending one chapter and starting another? And because it was like this mob collection, we thought, why don't we just do like this mob burial to the first collection? And the way you do anything is the way you do everything. So we could have just kind of written it, but we decided that we're going to do a mini movie about it.
Yeah,
and so we rented these cars and everybody dressed up in black, and we found a field and we dug a hole in a field and we like did this whole burial process, burned the casket to end one chapter and start a new chapter. And that new chapter has new colors. You see, it's more black and red. And that chapter eventually too will end, and there will be another chapter that will also look completely different. And I kind of feel like we don't want the brand to be like, it has a logo obviously, like, but we don't want it to be just basic stuff that we stamp a logo everywhere. We want every time to have the freedom to change how it looks like, to change the color palettes, to change the story, to change the narrative, to change the kind of items that we're creating, but still very much be within the Maison Beast universe. We just want our universe to be very large.
Yeah, I was like struck to my mind as well, like when you want to change collection 1, collection 2, collection 3, every like collection is not just a bit different, but kind of a lot different. Like how do you keep this Maison Beast like vibe when you obviously have a community of supporters and they would like to when Maison Beast drops a new collection, it has to be Maison Beast, not like, oh, it's not Maison Beast anymore. It's like, wow, it's just like different. But how do you like keep the same Maison Beast vibe going throughout all these, because you have a really, really creative mind, obviously with this burial video as well. You have a really creative mind and very ambitious with all of these new collections. But how do you keep this one straight line, or how do you keep this universe collected?
Well, we have a few, and this is not out of our choice or desire, but we noticed that we had a few staple products that everybody wants. Like we have certain T-shirts that everybody just keeps coming back for, and I think we now develop a kind of idea that there's a few things that we're going to have permanently available, but those are really like the basic things with just the Maison Beast branding, but just they're super high quality and very soft, so people want to have them. But you have to ask yourself the question as, what does it mean that people want it to be Maison Beast, right? The quality is guaranteed throughout any collection that we do. They know that the washes that we do, like stuff like the T-shirt that I have now on, like you can't produce that in Estonia. You're using stone wash techniques. You're washing it in stones. You bury the T-shirt in stones. Then you have a special tumble to give it the fade out look. And so we're gonna do the techniques, the quality of cotton and everything that we do. That's always gonna stay. But I feel like our people, or at least from us looking at who our customers are, they're kind of creatives, people in the music industry, in the marketing and in advertising industry. There are people in obviously sports, just people that like culture, urban culture. They're people that like new things. They like stories being told. And so I think being part of Maison Beast is being part of that world where we keep surprising people with stuff. Like we want to... You can't take one collection and year after year offer people the same thing with just a different color. We want them to be part of Maison Beast, means they're part of this storytelling brand that every time will give us something kind of new. Obviously, the design language is going to be there. Like we have oversized silhouettes. We don't really change that, but we experiment with things, and we want to take the people that are part of the brand on experiments with us, and some of them will fail for sure. But we don't want to be an H&M. We don't want to be.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, don't get me, like I would say we don't want to be a Nike. I mean, obviously we would like to be a Nike on a business sense of the word, but we don't want to have a store where you come in and you just have like basics with Maison Beast logos on them. We will get there. We will have a sport collection. We will have a few staple things that are there for sure. But that world that we're building, like if you like, I don't know if you've been to the new pop-up that we just opened in Rotterdam.
Oh, I haven't been.
But we built a store that tells the story of a new collection. So it's not just a store where you can come and get stuff. It's a store where it's built like a mob front, like a fake money laundering laundromat.
Oh,
so you have washing machines in there with stacks of money everywhere. The clothes that you get are all hanging in like transparent bags like you would get if you go to a laundry and you would give dry cleaners and you pick it up. So all of this story is already told within the retail experience, and we just, for ourselves, to keep our sense of humor, keep it interesting, we like to change it up, and I think it's more fun that way.
Yeah, that's really like, I'm also like, when you bring up these, you know, examples and like how to do things, I say that, damn, this is a really, really creative way of like, you know, approaching all of these things. That's what you expect from a creative director and a creative, you know, person. And but when I think of brands, especially like, you know, not some bigger brands, but like Maison Beast that are like still, you know, growing. When you see this clothing brand as an extension of yourself, who is, when you would have your ideal customer, like who would it be, and how do you integrate this community, or like how do you bring meaning to your clothes, and how do you build the story around each collection? Like you mentioned, like it also has like a start, a middle part, and an end. But what really goes, like, what inspires these like stories?
Sure, great question. Well, let me start off by saying, like, we have a certain customer that we're in an infant stage. Like we're babies as a brand still. We can't claim that we've achieved anything phenomenal. No, we're only getting started. So we're only starting to develop an eye for who our customer is. But we haven't, and I don't see us actually creating stuff for the customer that we have specifically. Like I kind of believe that the team that we have, we sit down, we have creative ideas. When an idea hits around the table, we start creating mood boards around what that setting is, like mob ties, right? We're like, okay, mob ties. There's Colombian mobs, there's Mexican mobs, there's like we're in Eastern Europe, so probably let's do it based around like the 90s in Eastern Europe. We create mood boards for the feel of the time, the colors that were used, the special items of that era. So we create this kind of whole world first, and then we start creating collections, or like start brainstorming what kind of items do we want for that collection, and how do we make or translate parts of those elements into this. So for example, in this specific collection, the Persian carpets were a huge thing in the 90s. And so we took that element and we put that into some of the collection items that we have still dropping later this year, like full on print of Persian carpets on these things. So we try to integrate it into the collection as much as possible. We try to have a sense of humor. We try to build the brand that we want to have, and then attract the customers that would like that. It's very tough for you to aim at attracting very specific kind of customers. So if you ask like what elements of Maison Beast were very strong on me, and that's like, I've always had a little problem with authority, with people telling me what to do, with not being able to fully express my opinion in certain settings, because the way that things are done here are, a certain way. It goes from different institutions, companies, school, whatever. So for me, building the brand, it was always like, okay, nobody's going to tell us what to do. We're going to put, fuck on a t-shirt because we can.
Yeah, exactly.
We are going to give an experience. We're going to create a retail space that looks like we're laundering money, because nobody in Estonia will do that if it's not us. And so it's really that pushing against the grain of kind of like growing up in environments where I couldn't fully express myself the way that I wanted to now going back and saying, okay, well, here's what I have to say.
Yeah.
And I feel like that now the rest of the team feels the same way. And so we're getting together, we're shooting ideas of what are, and again, you can't be an artist just for the sake of being an artist. We need to build a business as well. So we need to come up with ideas or worlds that are relevant, big enough for us to tell a story over a certain period of time, interesting enough for people to actually want to be a part of it, and something that we can actually build a full collection around. So we're not sitting and sweating saying, oh, let's design this t-shirt because these people are going to like it. We're kind of like saying, this is how we see the world.
That's a perfect way of like approaching it.
Join us or don't join us, whatever it is, we'll get you on the next one.
Yeah, that's a great approach. Yeah. And I love it. Yeah. As I said, it's nice to hear that so much goes on behind the scenes that people like don't see. People see the clothes, people see the videos, but people don't see like where this initial idea stems from, and how you put the seed to the ground and grow it into a full, collection.
It's what we talked about earlier on. And like any kid that's in school right now and is like, I want to build my own business. I love it. I support entrepreneurs. I'm an entrepreneur. I love entrepreneurship. I'm happy to talk to young entrepreneurs all day. But I'm telling you that the reason for Maison Beast is the 20 plus years of work in different industries and failures in different industries and all the things that I went through in my previous careers was literally what Maison Beast was built on. So it's very tough for you to like finish school and be like, okay, I'm gonna go build a business now. I mean, I'm there's people that can do it, and it's very few of them that can finish school and just go hustle and start building a business. I love it, I support it, but it's not everyone's story. So for the majority of people, I still say go out, get experiences, good, bad, whatever it is. Those experiences are gonna end up shaping the business you're gonna end up building, and it's gonna be a lot more useful than immediately finishing school thinking, okay, now I'm going to be the CEO now.
Yeah, that's a great way of putting it, yeah. When we're already talking about, students and finishing school, and if there was one thing you'd say to young Michael, going through these different jobs and having this, passion for clothes from early on in his, like, childhood, and, like, what would you say to this guy? Who doesn't know the many jobs he's gonna do. He doesn't know that maybe Maison Beast will be this thing, but you always kind of had this idea, I believe. But what would you tell like this guy?
It's a great question. So one of the things that I remember is going through challenges and being in environments where, like, I moved to Switzerland alone. I was like 18 and I had no family, friends, new place. There's a lot of things that feel super stressful and make you kind of question whether you should, stick to your guns, stick to what you feel, or whether you should, follow everybody and do what everybody else is doing because it seems to be the easier way. And you spend a lot of time really stressing on those things. And the one thing I would say that I definitely see today that I didn't back then is that on a long enough timeline, nothing really matters. So you're super emotional about a problem at a specific point when it's happening. Over a certain period of time, the significance of it will always diminish, will always go down. So not stressing that much about any given situations, not acting on emotions, just believing that what your gut tells you is the right thing, and just waiting it out for you to understand that no big problem is big forever.
Yeah,
I think would save me a ton of time, health, from the level of stress that I was going through some of these periods, because in the end, things work out one way or another, or they just lose meaning. And so I try to look at it through that point of view. On a big enough timeline, everything becomes less important.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah. Well, we have gone to the past now.
Yeah.
Let's see the future. What do you believe in like 3 to 5 years, or maybe even longer? Like, what will Maison Beast become? What are your, like, some of your top, goals for the coming years? And what is something that you can't do, like, maybe right now, but you definitely want to do that? Maybe it's a clothing piece. Maybe it's a collab with someone.
Like everything you just mentioned, I see us being the most talked about brand out of Estonia, for sure. I see us being in retail locations that today we can only dream of. I'm talking about, the Selfridges, the Harrods, the End stores, definitely being there. I see us having a bigger footprint in the UK, and eventually in the US. That's our, the main target where we want to go. Maybe one day we have our proper retail stores in those low environments as well. But in generally, I feel like we want to be part of the fashion conversation, or being a brand that can be a business that will last generations. Like, I want this to be something we can do for the rest of our lives. Everybody on the team that's involved, I see us being much, much bigger as a team. I see our footprint being much, much bigger. Whether we get to keep the headquarters in Estonia, which would be cool, or we will have to, have an additional part somewhere abroad. I don't know yet. But I see us, being in one conversation with brands like Vêtements and represent who we love. I want to do collaborations with some of these top designers. I mean, I think that Tommy Cash has done a lot for the fashion industry here, but just doing some of the collabs that he has with the Rick Owenses and the Margellas. I think that's a cool thing. There's some brands that I'd love to collaborate with are like Mischief, and I actually had a conversation with their creative director a couple of weeks ago. We were on the phone. Brands like Represent get to meet people really close to George. So I think next time we go to LA, we're going to go meet George as well. Would love to collaborate with bigger brands like the Balenciagas and the Vêtements. So we'll see. I feel like this is going to be a huge business. It's going to be a massive brand, a brand that we're proud of, a brand that maybe our kids can still, end up continuing if that's something that they would want to do. I just want it to be a generational thing. I don't want it to be a quick...
You want to leave a legacy behind.
I want to leave a legacy, but I'm not rushing to leave a legacy. Like I look at myself as if like we have so many years to go in this, and I want to never get bored of it. And I want it to become a self-sustaining business, and I want it to become a business that can feed everybody that's a part of it, and that something that we're super proud of and that people want to be a part of. I love that part, in Wolf of Wall Street where he pulls certain things and people line up behind the door wanting to work. When we had some of our first things, like when we did New York Fashion Week, we got a ton of emails of people wanting to come to work. I would love us to be a place for young people in Estonia who are entrepreneurial to come and build a career. I mean, for that, we need to be significantly bigger. But I want us to be that place. I want people that want to, hustle and be entrepreneurial and be creative. I want Maison Beast to be the home for them. And I also want people that love quality fashion and care about what they wear, that this is where they shop. And I just want more people in Estonia overall to care about what they wear and how it's produced and how long it lasts, and just care about that part of how they look. I think Estonia has done very well in terms of sports, and people are doing the gyms and the sports and all that. But I wish we had we would pay much more attention to the clothing part of it as well. If I go to somewhere in the US or London, I think it's a huge part of people's life. Like their wardrobe is a statement. Every time you go somewhere, what you wear says something. And maybe it will eventually come here as well. That's something that we want to bring.
Yeah.
At least.
Okay. Yeah, it was like there is an intention of I see it as you want to provide a space for your younger self as well with the Maison Beast. Yeah, and then this meaning of providing is really, really deep. That actually, if you didn't have a deeper meaning behind it, we wouldn't be sitting here, I guess. And it's really inspiring as well. And I wanted to ask you about inspiration. Obviously you mentioned you're very, very deep into music and all these UK vibes and USA vibes. What inspired that? Or if you have maybe maybe you had a favorite artist, music artist when you're growing up and you listen to it, or what inspired the UK and the USA? Obviously they are really, we can all understand that expanding the UK and the USA, obviously a really good goal, but is there something behind that?
No, 100%. You're absolutely right. I think I went to an international school when I was very young, and one way or another, somehow hip hop caught my attention. It was back, it was the Tupac era, and then Eminem coming up, and then Jay-Z coming up, and I got so hooked into the music, and then I started really learning the language and listening to what they were saying, and to me was that story of the corner boy going to become this massive businessman and building through music, building clothing brands and entertainment brands and clubs. And I saw it happen through people that I was kind of idolizing. Those music guys were, the whoever I want to become. I used to do music too. I had a record deal with Sony BMG, and I used to rap, and I did all of those. I went on that way because of who I saw doing it. So actually I had this whole music career too, and we were traveling and doing a lot of stuff with it. But I grew up looking at these people coming up from nothing to becoming somebody, and I felt relating to that because I didn't have anything. We were not coming up from like a super, rich parents and all of that. So I believe that if, they could do it, I could do it too. And I think that's what I really fell in love with hip hop for, the rawness of it, the way that, the vulnerability of it. And I started looking into, okay, they created an album, and then they became an artist, and then they started a fashion brand, and then they started. So that's kind of what I think inspired me back in the day. Then I started reading people like Robert Greene, 48 Laws of Power, and all of those kind of things, and more Gary Vee. Like I got into this entrepreneurship thing. I think all those things inspire me to believe that there's no secret except for working hard, believing what you can do to achieve it. So I never looked at it like, oh, we're coming from Estonia, we're a small market, we can't do anything. No, I think that's bullshit. I believe that we could literally build a global super brand out of here. And those are my inspirations. The people that I looked out to, who are today billionaires, who I was looking up to since I was young. But then, I tell you honestly, like now, later in life, and I find other heroes as well outside of just rap superstars. I'm listening to a lot of people that are in business and in marketing. I really, really recommend people to listen to entrepreneurship things, and in terms of marketing, Rory Sutherland is one of the guys that I turn to, who's incredible, and I recommend everybody to read it. I'll give you an example. In terms of the business building that we were talking about, and the cost and magic and all of those things, right? Most brands, and I mean, you would know. You tell me how you guys look at it when you build a brand. Take something as boring as shipping. When a customer buys something from you, and let's assume that you have to cover the cost of shipping, it's free for the customer. Most people would go into finding the cheaper shipping alternative, so that it doesn't cut into the profits, and the customer maybe receives it in 10 days. We looked at it saying that we want to deliver it in 2 days, even if they're in the US. And so we went the DHL Express route, and now it costs us 5-6 times, maybe more, to deliver a package to the US. But imagine they ordered from you and they ordered from us, and they got your package. I'm just saying in general. They got your package 10 days later, and they got our package in 2 days, right? Next time they want to order, assuming everything is both are good quality, where are they going to come to?
To the 2-day shipping.
Because there's magic in ordering and receiving in 2 days. The connection to it is so much different. Now, if we look at it from a math perspective, it costs us something to acquire a customer, both of us. But if I get to keep him and coming back again and again and again, then in the end, even in a math situation, we still win. Because we took the cost early, but we looked at the lifetime value of that customer.
That's the point you made earlier as well about the problems and
that's exactly how I'm looking at the business. I'm looking at it from a customer-centric point of view, rather than how do we make the most profit off the first sale. I don't really care how much we make profit on the first sale if I know that by making certain moves, we can keep the customer for longer, and over a lifetime we'll make a lot more, and the customer will be happy. And so that's how we move. That's how we make the decisions about packaging, which is always more expensive than what most people do, shipping, all of that.
Okay. That's a really that's the best way of looking things when doing a clothing business or any business at all. Looking at the, like, what would you like? Would you like a 10-day shipping or a 2-day shipping? You'd obviously.
I agree with you in theory, but then when I order, I test order all the time. I order from brands just to understand and see the packaging and see the thing. I don't get anything in 2 days except for represent maybe.
Yeah.
Nothing comes in 2 days, and also the packaging. Like we created gift cards in our brand that are dollar stacks. So you get €100 gift card, you get a stack of $100, like $1, but 100 of them. It's a full stack.
Yeah.
We went through 14 different papers to find the one that would feel right when you touch it. That would feel like $1 and feel like money. 14 different papers. You know who's who has the time for that shit?
That's the obsession.
To me, I had a customer come in and touch the paper and say, "Yo, that feels real," and I'm like, "You see, that was worth it."
Yeah, that's actually that shows that you have a deep obsession for this. And well, when you talk about these little details as well, like for me, let's expand on this. Let's talk about the new collections, the new upcoming things, or like the current collections. What are the on the next few months until the end of the year, or like for the 2026, early 2026? Like, what is coming for Maison Beast? What are these like? What would people have to, or like keep an eye on, or like what to expect?
So, I mean, we just launched the Mob Ties collection. We had a few really cool graphics. We went into graphic t-shirts now. We created this, Tide detergent box that says Mob Ties on it.
Yeah.
We actually created the physical boxes as well, so you can package t-shirts in them. But this is only like a third of the collection that we have coming. We have really sick, distressed pants and jacket that are kind of black and red with a lot of holes in them.
Oh, wow.
Really great. Then we have the full carpet print jacket and pants as well, like I told you, inspired from the 90s there. We did stuff with corduroy. We did an incredible sweatpants and crew neck set from like the most buttery soft fabric you can possibly imagine. It's like it's heavy, but it's like you wear it. There's nothing else you ever want to wear, and so we have that coming. We have more accessories coming. By the way, we released eyewear. We released a bandana. We're gonna release jewelry like rings like that. There are coats like outerwear in the works right now. There is a few really cool new tee ideas that are coming as well. Right. We have knitwear, really sick knitwear coming later in the year as well. So there's quite a few pieces coming out. And to be honest with you, we're already talking about the next collection. We're already designing the next collection and the next world. Like, there's two things. From time to time, we can just drop like a few pieces, just like items. And then we have the bigger collections, which are like the worlds. So we're already kind of working on the next world, but there's still a lot more to come from Mob Ties. And then we're also going to do a runway show in October. We got nominated for this Hubbenal Silver Needle Award. So we're putting a runway show with 12 looks in October that I really recommend y'all come and check out because it's going to be super special.
Yeah, perfect. Well, I like this, yeah. Like, the way you actually describe these buttery soft pants, like, this is the thing that I'm talking about. Like, how to actually, like, word it out. Because if you would have said just soft pants, I would okay, soft pants, but buttery soft, heavy, like, this is just a thing that I just noticed. That's like,
but it's being in touch with culture. We're as much as we create a brand, we're also consumers of fashion and music and everything else. We're fans of a lot of the things that we're creating. So I think you got to keep relevance. And when I tell you terms, it's because we buy the things, we look at what others are doing, we're seeing the terms. We understand what people like and don't like, and at least we try to be as relevant as possible within the industry. And obviously, you are a little bit closer to fashion than most people, so those terms click to you immediately. Yeah. But I mean, I think it's both of our jobs to kind of commercialize that. Yeah.
This was a perfect way of saying it. That was good. Okay, yeah. I'm thinking right now of some short questions of like to maybe wrap this up.
Yeah.
And I was thinking of like if there's one, person that you would love to wear a Maison Beast, whatever piece of clothing, who would it be? Would it be your childhood, some heroes or some people you look up to right now, or like maybe a rapper, maybe, I don't know.
We created this world's first after sex t-shirt, which is a crazy concept. Like the idea of somebody asking for a t-shirt like after they're intimate, and so we created the t-shirt just for that and packaged it in a condom. I think it would be crazy if somebody like Drake or like Sydney Sweeney would wear shit like that. I think that's. I'd love to get Drake to wear that.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that would be mad. That would be crazy. Yeah. Okay. If there is like, obviously we are here in TalTech, and if there's something you would say to maybe some students who are like kind of have a similar maybe background, or maybe even don't have a similar background, but have this thought of choosing a path of either doing your own thing, or following what everybody else is doing. Like, but they're kind of, I don't know, in the mix of all this, like they don't know if they're, I don't know, good enough, or they don't have to, like, they're kind of held back behind something, but they do have this idea in the back of their mind that they want to create something. Or like, if there's some general thing you would say to a university student in like TalTech, what would it be, you know, if they have the intention of like actually wanting to create something for themselves?
100%. Well, I mean, I think it's super important in this year to figure out what you're passionate about. So that's number one. Like, forget about how you're going to get there. Figure out what it is that you're super passionate about. The earlier you figure it out, the more years you're going to have building towards that passion. So I think that's super important. I don't think it's ever smart to compare yourself or your situation to anybody else's. So like, some people would get off university and through luck, circumstance, whatever, family, have a quick start on building something. And then you have to go and work and maybe in a job that you don't love so much. It doesn't mean that you're worse off. So I'm saying everybody has their own path. Some people need to gather the experiences that they need to gather to start something, and some people are gonna get an early start, but it doesn't mean they're gonna do better, and or you know, anything can happen. So I don't want people ever comparing their circumstances to anybody else's circumstances, because you never know what really is behind the circumstances. Don't be afraid to fuck shit up, is my message. Like, if you know what you want to do, if you know what you're passionate about, don't choose the safest way of getting there. Don't look at, I want to start a clothing brand. Okay, let me see what all these other clothing brands here are doing. Oh, okay, they're doing made to order, or oh, okay, they're printing on blanks, so I'm going to print on blanks. Don't look at it like, if you want to create something, don't do it like everybody else. Yes, it involves taking risk. Take the risk. If you fail, you just, all it is a lesson, and then you start again. So I'd rather you fail 3 times, get the lesson, start on your 4th and do big, than you're just going to be safely doing what everybody else is doing and get not noticed. Because if not noticed, you're dead in business. That's what it is.
Yeah.
But don't ever rush things. Like, you don't think, oh, I need to get it now. If I don't do it now, I won't get it. No, life is long.
Yeah.
Get the experiences. It's a lot more valuable to build experiences, connections, and doing things when you're ready to do them, than to just rush and doing things and then maybe losing the passion. Like, the worst thing can happen is somebody starts when they're not ready.
Yeah.
It turns out to be bad, and then they lose the passion for doing that.
That would be the worst case scenario.
That's the worst case scenario. Find out what you're passionate about. Find ways to bring you closer to that. And it doesn't matter whether it takes you a year, half a year, 5 years, 10 years. As long as you're walking in the right direction, you're going to get where you need to go. That's the main thing.
Yeah, perfect. All right. Yeah, that's a really, really good message. And it also ties, what I noticed as well, it ties into your, belief that you had earlier about this, like, life is long, timeline, problems diminish, but you have gained so much experience to music, to these different jobs and everything. That has made you a person who you are and who is prone to create, You are prone to create because you have all these experiences and you see the world in a different way, And it wouldn't have been if you would have just rushed, to like...
For sure, and collaborate. Like, it's Maison Beast. I mean, sure, I had the idea, I founded it, but it's still very much the collaborative effort with the team that's next to me. Surround yourself with good-ass people, people that are good at things that you're not good at. Don't get people that are doing the same thing that you are doing. Get people that are good at stuff you're not good at. Collaborate. Don't ever chase the, like, I did that or I did that. Like, it's a group thing. You can build a lot faster if you do it in a good team and just collaborate, build together. And the worst thing is people, starting splitting profits of things that haven't even happened yet. So don't even, just work together, create something that people will love, and then the money thing will work out after.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah. Well, you are big into music. What are your top 3 artists right now? Or maybe, who do you listen to the most? Or who did you listen to coming here?
Yeah, no, I mean, Drake is a big one for me. Joyner Lucas is a big one for me. J. Cole is a big one for me.
Oh, damn. There we have it.
Yeah, there you go.
But when you came here, what did you listen to?
And Jay. I mean, I'm a huge Jay-Z fan.
Okay. Yeah,
I was listening to Joyner Lucas's diss track to Skepta, actually, when I was coming here.
Okay. Then.
He just had a new album come out too, so Joyner is dope.
Well, perfect. Well, it was nice talking to you.
Thank you, man. Like, And good luck to you guys as well.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
I would love to, we should flip the table and see how you guys are doing, how you're looking at this whole fashion industry.
Well, we'll never know. Yeah, we could maybe set this up sometime.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
But yeah, perfect. Okay, so this wraps up the MTÜK podcast session for today, and I hope you enjoyed watching and listening to this great conversation we had with the Maison Beast owner here. So it was a huge pleasure and honor.
Thank you so much. It was a great conversation. Appreciate you.
Perfect. Okay.
Paigas, purgis, koju minek.